Hello, welcome back to LIVENODING. In this episode, I want to share the breakdown on how I created these effects. This was actually an effect that I created after I watched a video tutorial by Vladimir. So basically, you need to have Blender 3.0 because with 3.0 you have ability to use the curve parameter called length. So with that parameter, you can actually grab kind of parts of curve, and then just simply use that part to generate another smaller curve. So let me just show you the setup here, because I'm using sphere chalk. It seems complicated because it's doing it on many curves at the same time over here. If I'm just using like a, let me refill everything. So this is, you can see I have many curves being generated and then turned into geometry nodes. If I'm just using like a torus node, for example, so this is a torus node, and this is the same effect, and I will increase the radius. Okay, this is basically what's Vladimir is showing. So we have one single curve, and then I'm applying geometry nodes into this curve over here, and let's reveal the node 3. It seems complicated, but not really. So the curves coming in, and because I'm using instances, I need to realize instances. And then I did a resample of curve, but the one that's really doing the job is this equal and curve parameter length. Okay, if we use the length and then use this float compare and control it using a value, we can kind of make this type of animations of curve, like a smaller curve traveling over larger curve. Okay, so it's pretty cool effect. It's like a one curve going in. There must be a way to loop this, but I think this is already kind of nice. And because I'm using sphere chalk, that's why this seems a little bit more complicated. But anyway, we separate the geometry curve and get the smaller part. We can actually get the invert, I believe. So this is the invert. Might need to disconnect this part. Cyclic. Nah, don't worry about that for now. So we are separating the curve part into points using this equal, so we can do this kind of effect. And then what I did earlier with Suzanne and sphere chalk, if I did that, we can have this kind of effects, slightly more elaborate. It's probably best if I kind of do this from scratch. Yeah, so let me do that from scratch. Start with a cube of nothing, create geometry nodes, and we want to have some kind of curve coming in. So I'm using sphere chalk, but you can use any curve. I like to use torus node and polyline viewer as the output. So we have this. This is torus node from sphere chalk. And we can make it cyclic. Okay, so this we can use this curve, just bring it into geometry nodes, drag and drop. Let's save this very quickly. Torus node selective. So we want to select the curve part and then use that small part to generate a smaller curve. I think that's how I understand it. Curve parameter, and this is only available with Blender 3.0 alpha, this length. So curve coming in, and we want to use float math, measure the length equal, and we can use this value and epsilon, and we want to separate geometry. So our geometry is this curve coming in, and we want to use this. Okay, so it doesn't seem to work because of sphere choke. We need to actually zero this out, I believe, or actually zero this out. Okay, yeah, it works now. We need to zero out the bevel depth, and we can still have control of the radius. So we can now, yeah, we have the curve working for us. We might need to do something with the cyclic. Yeah, I disconnect the cyclic, and okay, we have the animations. So let's use curve to mesh and circle. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is the animations, right? So curve, smaller curve going through the larger curve. Let's put this back to the original. So this is curve coming in from sphere top. We can still control the radius, curve resolution, and then now inside geometry nodes, we can control a smaller curve passing through. Very nice effect. And on top of that, we can also use the same curve parameter, and we can set radius. Set curve radius. Okay. We can control this using float curve. I think this is as basic as it can be, but the final effect is actually looking quite nice. Okay, I always plug this to the wrong thing. Factor to factor, that's wrong. Factor should go to the value. Okay, so now we have the effects that we want. Finally, map range. I suggest you to watch Vladimir tutorial, which is pretty cool. He goes over, and then he actually made like a duplicates, because if this effect is so interesting and useful, you want to have like a group to make multiple. In the future, we might be able to further explore this setup to make something that's a little bit more interesting. We can also fill the gaps. Okay, this is the final effect. Okay, so by controlling this value, we make the animation travel, and then epsilon is controlling how far the how long the smaller curve is gonna be. Okay, and let's see what else I forgot to mention. Spin face. There is also, okay, with the monkey head, I was basically using the path, edgenet to path, and so instead of using monkey, I will use grasshopper or cricket. let's see if the effect still works. So we have multiple curve now, and I want to create a new collections. Put the curve generated using Photoshop into collection, so we have hundreds of curve there, and we want to use it with this guy using collection. So grab the collections, realize instances, and then use this there. Hopefully the effect still works. Pipe out the value, get the cube. Oh yeah, we crashed it. Okay, maybe because it's still alpha. Anyway, I will reopen. So you need the latest Blender 3.0. This one's still alpha, and yeah, this is the effects. Monkey head, probably. You see, we still have same control over the epsilon. So there's a lot of curve, and then this geometry nodes effect is doing it all at the same time. And I actually have control over the sampling of the curve here. So I can resample the curve, the smaller curve, and then let this animation travel. It's interesting that the smaller curve actually finishes earlier. And then it settles. Yeah, maybe there's a way to normalize the curve, but I think that's pretty much sum up the effects. If I use Cricut, I know I need to convert polygon edge. I haven't used Photoshop for a while, so I should have. Okay. This might do the job. Yeah, the effect's pretty cool. If this one is actually looping, I think it's kind of nice. I would love to have like a Tron-like suit on me, and then having these effects kind of traveling. Yeah, it's nice. I turn off unique edge. This is probably nicer. And of course, you can have multiple. It's just a single geometry nodes sourcing all this curve. So you can have duplicates and then have the animations. Second animations traveling and offset at a different time. Okay, so yeah, that's the effects. I make it like sounds really complicated, but watch the Vladimir video tutorial before this. I will put the link, and hopefully you understand that better, and then you can play around with my setup. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.